The Trump administration, meanwhile, has announced sweeping changes to working visas, which will block many foreign workers from moving to the U.S. this year. The temporary visas used by the technology sector, multinational companies, au pairs, and others have been suspended. A freeze on green cards issued outside the U.S. has also been extended until the end of the year. The White House says the move will help Americans who've lost their jobs during the health crisis. Well, for more on this, let's speak to our business editor, Stephen Carroll, who's with me on the set. Stephen, first of all, what exactly are these new restrictions?
First of all, when it comes to green cards, these are permanent residency visas. There's normally a lottery every year where 50,000 of those green cards are handed out. That's been suspended. This is an extension of a measure that was announced in April, so there'll be no new green cards handed out to people outside of the US until the end of the year. The other thing that's mainly affected are these temporary working visas. So for people who are not seeking immigration status but are there to work, particularly in the high-tech sector. That's the H-1B visa. We've heard a lot about it in the past. 85,000 of those visas are issued every year. It's particularly important for those specialised engineers, for example, that come to work in the tech industry in the US. They mainly go to India and Chinese nationals, so that's one of the visas that's been suspended for the rest of the year. There's the H-2B visa, which is for seasonal workers outside of agriculture, things like the hotel industry, food processing. That's around 66,000 visas a year. The majority of those go to Mexican nationals. That's suspended too. L1 visas, those are people who work for international companies that are moving within the company into the United States. That's been suspended as well. 77,000 of those issued last year. Then there's the J1 visa, which is for cultural and educational exchanges. It's typically the visa that students from elsewhere in the world go on to the United States to work in summer camps or to work as au pairs, for example. Those visas also been suspended. So all of those people now won't be able to move to the US to work. Those programs suspended until at least the end of the year.
The Trump administration's argument is by suspending all these visas, they're going to help Americans who have lost their jobs. Will that really work?
So the White House says that this will help reallocate more than 500,000 jobs to Americans. Other estimates put that figure much lower, around 300,000 is the number of jobs that'll be affected. But there are 21 million people out of work in the United States, so it would only be a drop of the ocean, even if Americans were able to take all of those jobs. The other issue, and this is particularly what the business community is worried about, is that the jobs that are on offer are highly skilled and highly specialised, and the people who are out of work and seeking work may not have the skills needed to do those jobs. That's particularly something that's being signalled by the US Chamber of Commerce, which says this is like putting a not welcome sign on the United States, that it'll hold the economy back. The tech sector particularly worried about this. The CEO of Google, Sundar Pichai, has tweeted saying that it was a disappointing decision taken by the administration. The Global Business Alliance, that represents foreign companies in the US, they say these restrictions will remove an element of growth from the US economy as well. The White House says they're looking at actually reforming the H-1B visa. This is the tech visa in general, to allocate it to people who are offered the highest salaries rather than the current lottery system. They say this is part of the overall change they want to for immigration in that area. Of course, we know immigration is going to be a big issue for the election as well, so that'll be very much tied to what happens to this in the future.
Stephen, thanks for that. France 24 Stephen Carroll, great to see you in person on the set.